Hi friends, it's Lisa here from Learn English with Lisa. Are you prepping for Cambridge First and want to improve your speaking score? Well, you need to bear in mind that doing well in the speaking paper is not just about being fluent, and it's not just about being super confident and not making any major grammar mistakes. You will also have to include some more advanced vocabulary. Keep watching this video because I'm about to share some really useful tips and tricks that will make you shine and really impress the examiners. We're going to take a look at 6 phrasal verbs that you can use in the speaking paper when you're talking about family and relationships, which is a really common topic in Cambridge First certificates. Let's take a look at some really useful phrasal verbs that you might want to use for your Cambridge First B2 exam when you're talking about family and relationships. Let's take a look at our first phrasal verb. Here it is. Hang out with. Hang out with. When you hang out with someone, it means that you spend time with that person. Now, who do I hang out with in my free time? Well, I think I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not much of a social butterfly and I don't have much free time these days. But when I do have some free time, I really enjoy hanging out with my best friend Amy. We've got so many common interests and whenever we get together, we always have a blast. Now let's move on to our second phrasal verb, which is to fall out with. Fall out with. If you fall out with someone, it means that you have an argument and consequently you stop being friends. For instance, Dan left home after falling out with his dad. This means that they argued and they stopped talking to each other. This is a really useful phrasal verb because you can use it not only to talk about people that you don't get on with, but also people that you do have a good relationship with. You could say something like, I get on really well with this person and we never fall out with each other. Now let's move on to our next phrasal verb, which was included in the previous example. It's the verb to get on or to get along with someone. To get on or to get along means to have a good relationship. And once again, you can also use this with a negative verb to talk about people that you don't have a good relationship with. For instance, she doesn't get on with her roommate. Is there anyone that you don't get on with? And why not? Why don't you get on with them? I don't get on with my next door neighbours, and the reason I say this is because they love to party until the early hours, and unfortunately I'm not a very big fan of their noise. Moving on to the next phrasal verb. Here it is, to take after. I really like this phrasal verb, to take after someone. When you take after someone, it means that you inherit certain physical characteristics or personality traits. So you are similar to an older member in your family in appearance or character. We have an example here. He takes after me with his love of cats. Who do you take after in your family, and in what way? Personally, I think I take after my mum because we both tend to worry a lot about things, but I also take after my dad in terms of physical appearance because we both have the same eyes. Here's our next phrasal verb, to look up to someone. To look up to someone, which means to admire someone, to admire them and to respect them very much. We have an example here. He'd always looked up to his mum. He'd always looked up to his mum. Now, my Uncle John is someone that I look up to. He's achieved great success in both his career and his personal life. He's always willing to lend a helping hand, and he's very generous with his time and with his resources. Next, we have the phrasal verb to grow apart from someone. To grow apart from someone. This is used when you want to express the idea that you've gradually begun to have a less close relationship with someone. And usually this happens because you no longer have the same interests. Let's take a look at the example. My best friend and I never actually argued, we just gradually grew apart. What about you? Are you still in touch with your childhood best friend, or did you gradually grow apart from each other? I haven't been in touch with my childhood friend for ages, and I think it's a real pity. We grew apart when we went to secondary school and we started hanging out with different crowds. Great, so now you've got 6 new phrasal verbs to use in the speaking test. Don't be afraid to use these phrasal verbs. Don't be shy. Get plenty of practice in. And remember, the more you practice these, the more natural you will sound, because it's really important that on the day you don't end up sounding like you're repeating these parrot style. Okay, you don't want to sound like a robot. So practice, practice, practice. That's it for this video. I hope to see you really soon in my next video. Until next time, goodbye.